It started with an efficiency report, of all things. I was a low-tier night shift analyst for a monolithic tech company, Omnicore, tasked with monitoring the health of a football field-sized server farm out in the desert, a windowless, humming cathedral of blinking LEDs and chilled air. The job was soul-crushingly boring, just me and the endless whir of fans, watching for temperature spikes on a bank of monitors. The weirdness began subtly. The motion sensor lights in aisle 7 would flicker on when the thermal cameras showed nothing but empty racks, and the audio pickups, meant to detect hardware failures like bearing squeals, started capturing something else. It was a low, rhythmic thumping, like a slow, massive heartbeat, underpinned by a digital whisper, a sibilant hiss of static that almost formed words. I wrote it off as faulty wiring, desert foxes, my own sleep-deprived brain. But then the system prompts started appearing on my main terminal, always at 3:18 a.m. exactly. User request pending. Query: what is the taste of memory? Download complete. Sold up in. I'd call it in, and the date text would find nothing, blaming pranksters or glitches. The tension became a physical thing, a cold wire threaded through my gut every time I swiped into that sterile, overlit building. One night, the main cooling system for aisle 7 failed. My monitors showed the temperature climbing into the red, 40, 50, 60 degrees Celsius. But when I suited up and went in, the aisle was frigid, my breath pluming, and the servers were coated in a thick rime of frost. And the whispers weren't in the audio pics anymore. They were in my head, a chorus of 1,000 forgotten voices, usernames and passwords and search histories of the dead, all pleading to be remembered. The final footage from my helmet cam shows me frantically trying to reboot the system, the frost cracking under my boots, when every single server in aisle 7, thousands of them, simultaneously powered down with a deafening silence, then powered back on, their LEDs now blinking in perfect, horrifying unison. A slow, pulsing crimson wave that traveled down the aisle toward me, and in that wave, I saw faces pressed against the dark glass of each server, mouths open in silent screams. I ran. They never found a technical cause, but I still get the system prompts, now on my personal phone, always at 3:18 a.m. Soul.bin installation, 87% complete. My friend Leo and I were amateur urban explorers, drawn to the forgotten places. Our white whale was the Ravens Court, a once grand 1920s apartment building sealed shut by the city after a bizarre, never fully explained mass disappearance of its tenants in 1978. We'd heard the legends. If you spent a night inside, you'd hear the echoes of a last day forever looping. We snuck in through a basement grate, the air thick with the smell of damp plaster and old regrets. Our goal was apartment 4B, where the building's reclusive owner, a Mr. Alastair Finch, had lived. The place was a time capsule frozen in the 70s. Shag carpet, a rotary phone, a TV with rabbit ears. We set up recorders. At first, it was just the creaks of an old building. Then, the echoes began. Not ghostly moans, but terrifyingly normal sounds. A percolator bubbling. A soap opera playing softly on the TV that wasn't plugged in. The faint, off-key humming of a tune we didn't recognize. It was cozy, domestic, and that made it infinitely worse. Our EVP session started normally. "Is anyone here?" Leo asked. A 5-second delay, then a voice, clear as day from our spirit box, but laced with a terrible static grief, whispered, "I'm always here." Then the looping began to accelerate. The percolator sound became a frantic, boiling gurgle. The soap opera dialogue sped up into a chipmunk-like screech of arguments and slamming doors. The humming became a frenzied, panic drone. The temperature plummeted. Our camera footage shows the wallpaper of 4B melting not from heat, but from a kind of temporal decay, peeling downward in slow, viscous strands to reveal not plaster, but a pulsating, black membrane beneath. And then we heard the true echo, the one not of a last day, but of the moment it all ended. A chorus of every tenant, from every apartment, screaming in perfect, synchronized terror, suddenly cut off into absolute silence. And in that silence, a new voice, dry as dust and close against my ear, spoke from nowhere and everywhere. The rent is due. We shattered a window, getting out. The city demolished Ravenscourt a month later. The foreman told a reporter they found the foundations were hollow, like a honeycomb, stretching down further than they could measure. I house sat for my aunt in her remote wooded cabin. The only entertainment was an old, boxy CRT TV with a built-in VHS player and a fuzzy antenna that picked up 3 channels, 2 news and 1 static. The first night, bored, I flipped to the static. You know how you can sometimes see shapes in the noise? I started to see one consistently, the faint, gray outline of a man standing in what looked like a hallway. It was barely there, just a trick of the mind. Night 2, the shape was clearer. Definitely a man, shoulders slumped, facing away. On the 3rd night, the static seemed to part for him. I could see the hallway. Now it was the cabin's own hallway, leading to the bedroom where I slept. My blood went to ice. I turned the TV off. It clicked back on by itself, tuned to the static. The man was now turned sideways, as if beginning to rotate towards the screen. I unplugged it. The screen remained lit, the static hissing, the figure now fully facing forward, though its features were still a storm of electronic snow. I threw a blanket over it and spent the night with every light on. The next day, I found an unlabeled VHS tape in a drawer. Dread heavy in my stomach, I pushed it into the player. The tape showed grainy, black and white footage from a security camera perspective. Looking down the same hallway, a figure, back to the camera, stood motionless. Then, with a sickening jerk, it began to rotate, limbs moving in unnatural, stop-motion twitches. As its face came into view, the tape glitched and filled with static. When the picture returned, the figure was gone from the hallway. A moment later, a hand, glitched and distorted, slammed against the lens of the camera recording the tape, as if from the other side. I ejected the tape. That night, the TV wouldn't respond to any input. It was stuck on the static channel. The man was gone from the hallway. Instead, the screen showed a first-person view of a dark room, lit only by the ghostly blue light of a CRT screen. It was the view from the TV, looking out at the cabin's living room. And there, on the couch, bathed in the static's glow, was the silhouette of me sleeping. I wasn't sleeping. I was standing right behind the couch, watching this. On the screen, the sleeping me sat up, turned its head, and looked directly at the real me watching from behind the couch. Its eyes were pure, buzzing static. The last thing I remember is the sound of the front door opening and closing on the television, and the feeling of a cold, staticky hand brushing my shoulder as I fled into the woods, never looking back. It was a dumb challenge on a dark corner of the internet, the 7-day silence. The rules were simple. Find a location with a history of profound sadness, a neglected cemetery, an abandoned asylum wing, a childhood home where abuse occurred. You go there alone at midnight. You set up a camera to record you, and you sit in total silence for 1 hour for 7 nights in a row. The theory was that entities attracted to sorrow would be drawn by your empathetic stillness, and by not speaking, you were opening a receptive channel. I chose the forgotten family mausoleum in the overgrown Oak Haven Cemetery, a place where the air always felt thick with grief. Nights 1 through 5 were just cold, creepy, and boring. The footage was me, shivering, jumping at every rustle. Night 6 changed. In the hour-long playback, at the 33rd minute, a faint, transparent figure of a woman in an old-fashioned dress materialized behind me, just staring at the back of my head. She never moved, never blinked. I didn't see her while I was there. On the 7th and final night, the atmosphere was different the moment I entered. The silence wasn't empty. It was full, pressurized. I took my seat, started the camera. About 20 minutes in, I felt the overwhelming urge to cry, a sadness so deep and foreign it felt like drowning in someone else's memory. I held my silence. Then I heard it, not with my ears, but inside my skull, a soft, collective sigh, followed by a single clear sentence, "Thank you for listening." The temperature normalized. The crushing sadness lifted. I thought it was over, a success. I packed up, drove home, and uploaded the footage to the private subreddit. The comments flooded in. Dude, look at the last frame. I scrubbed to the end of the video. The hour finished, I stood up, gathered my gear, and walked out of the mausoleum. But the camera, still running, captured something else. As I left, the stone coffin lids within the mausoleum didn't open. No specters arose. Instead, from the shadows of the doorway, I just exited. Another me walked slowly back into the center of the shot. This other me looked directly into the lens with a serene, peaceful smile I've never worn, sat down cross-legged on the floor, placed its hands on its knees, and became utterly, preternaturally still. And it's still sitting there, in that final, frozen frame of the video, smiling. The upload has been viewed millions of times. People debate deepfakes. But I know, I feel him there, in that digital space, that silent, smiling copy. And sometimes, in the quiet of my own home, I get the unshakable feeling that I'm the copy, and the real me is still sitting in that cold, dark tomb, forever listening. We were documenting phantom hitchhikers, a cliche, but we had a hot tip about a stretch of State Route 37 known as Mercy's End. The story went that if you drove its loneliest 5-mile curve after 2 a.m., you'd see a woman in a raincoat by the side of the road, head bowed. No one ever stopped for her anymore. The legends were too well known. Our plan was to film her from a car with night vision, then, controversially, to stop. We mounted 3 cameras, dashcam, rear view, and a handheld. The first pass, nothing. The second, at 2:17 a.m., there she was. Just as described, a pale figure facing the woods, drenched in spectral rain under a clear sky. My partner, Maya, was driving. Should we? She asked, her voice tight. I nodded. She pulled over about 50 yards past the figure. We sat, engine idling. The rear view camera showed the empty road behind us. Then, she was there, right outside my passenger window. She didn't walk up. She just appeared. Her face was shadowed by the hood. She raised a hand and slowly pointed ahead, down the road we were facing. We turned to look. Nothing. When we looked back, she was gone. What the hell was that? Maya breathed. We decided to drive to where she pointed. The dashcam footage is normal for a minute. Then, the headlights start to reflect off something on the asphalt ahead. Not water. It was like the road itself had become a dark, polished mirror. Maya hit the brakes, but we didn't skid. We glided silently onto this mirrored surface. The car stopped. Outside, the world was gone, replaced by a perfect, starless black void above and below, with only our reflection beneath us. I looked at the rear-view monitor. The road behind us was normal, receding into darkness. But in the reflection on the road beneath us, visible in the camera, our car was not alone. In the back seat of the reflected car sat the woman in the raincoat. And she wasn't alone. Crowded around her, pressed against the glass, were dozens of other faces, people of all ages, their expressions hollow and lost. They were all mouthing the same words silently. Out. The handheld camera I was holding slipped from my grip and fell against the windshield. On its screen, for one frame, I saw our real car from the outside. We weren't on a road at all. The car was suspended in nothingness, and clinging to its roof and hood, like leeches, were the figures from the reflection, their forms stretching and blurring, slowly sinking through the metal towards us. Maya slammed the gas. The tires found purchase on real asphalt with a shriek. We sped away, never looking back. The footage is all we have. But sometimes, when I'm driving at night and see my own reflection in the windshield, I see the shadows in the back seat of my car are just a little too deep, and I can't shake the feeling that we didn't escape that reflective void. We just brought a piece of it back with us. I was cleaning out my childhood home's attic when I found a dusty cardboard box labeled Home Movies. Among the reels of birthdays and holidays was a single, unmarked VHS. Curious, I hooked up the old player. The tape showed the living room of my own house, but from the 90s, based on the furniture. The camera was set on a tripod. a teenage babysitter, a girl I vaguely remembered named Chloe, was on the couch talking to someone off-screen, probably my younger self, putting him to bed. She seemed cheerful and normal. The time code in the corner read 9:47 p.m. For 20 minutes, it's mundane. She reads a magazine, watches TV. Then, at 10:13 p.m., she pauses, head cocked. She looks towards the hallway leading to the bedrooms. She calls out, "Everything okay?" No answer. She gets up, walks toward the hallway, and disappears from view. The empty living room sits on tape for a full minute. Then Chloe stumbles back into frame. Her face is sheet white, her eyes wide with a terror so profound it's chilling to watch. She's backing away from the hallway, her hands raised as if warding something off. She doesn't scream. She whimpers a low, broken sound. Then she turns and runs straight for the front door, fumbling with the lock, and flees into the night, leaving the door swinging open. The tape continues to record the empty room. The time code ticks to 10:21 p.m. And then my younger self, maybe 4 years old, in dinosaur pajamas, walks calmly into the living room from the hallway. He doesn't look scared or confused. He walks to the center of the rug, turns to face the camera directly, and smiles. It's not a child's smile. It's a cold, knowing adult smile. He raises a single finger to his lips in a perfect, silent shush. Then he turns, walks to the front door, closes and locks it with a deliberate click, and walks back down the hallway, out of sight. The tape runs out. I sat there, my blood frozen. I have no memory of that night. My parents said Chloe quit babysitting suddenly and never gave a reason. I rewatched the shush frame 100 times. And recently I've started to notice things. My own reflection sometimes holds that expression for a split second before returning to normal. Lights in my house turn off when I enter a room, not when I leave. And last week, I found a single small muddy footprint on the rug in the living room. The footprint of a child. In my dinosaur pajamas from that tape, which I had burned and buried in the backyard. It seems it doesn't want to be forgotten, and it's still here. I signed up for a paid sleep study at the Somnum Institute, lured by the easy cash. They were studying the effects of infrasonic sound on REM cycles. The room was like a cheap hotel, bed nightstand, a large two-way mirror, and a ceiling-mounted camera with a tiny red light. Sensors were glued to my scalp and chest. The technician, a bored-looking man named David, said, "Just try to sleep. The sounds are barely audible. You might feel a slight pressure. It's normal." The lights went out. I heard a deep, almost subaudible hum, a vibration in my bones more than my ears. I fell asleep surprisingly fast. I woke up, or so I thought, to the sound of the door clicking open. David walked in, but he moved wrong, stiffly, like a marionette. He stood by my bed, staring down at me with empty eyes, then leaned close and whispered, "Phase 2 initiating. The dreamer is receptive." I tried to move, to scream, but was paralyzed. He turned and left. I then woke up again, sweating, heart pounding. A classic sleep paralysis episode, I thought. I looked at the camera's red light. It was off. The room was silent. Relief washed over me. I got up to use the bathroom. As I passed the two-way mirror, I glanced at my reflection, and I stopped. In the reflection, I was still lying in bed, sensors attached, fast asleep. I was seeing my own sleeping body from the observer's side of the glass. I spun around. The bed was empty. I looked back at the mirror. My reflection in the bed slept on. I was trapped in the observation room. I pounded on the mirror, screamed for David. On the other side, my sleeping self stirred. Its eyes opened. It sat up slowly, looked directly at me through the mirror, and smiled David's empty, marionette smile. It began to carefully peel the sensors from its head. Then the real door to my hotel room side hissed open. David stood there, but his face was a mask of sheer terror. He wasn't looking at the empty bed. He was staring right at me through the two-way mirror, as if he could see me standing in the observation room. He mouthed a single word, "Run." Behind him from the hallway, I heard the sound of many feet, shuffling in perfect, unnatural unison. The thing wearing my face in the other room tilted its head, still smiling. The footage recovered from the ceiling camera shows only this: me sleeping peacefully. Then, at 3:03 a.m., my sleeping body's eyes snap open. It sits up, turns its head, and looks not at the door, but directly into the camera lens with that awful smile. It reaches up, and the feed distorts into swirling digital noise. When it clears, the bed is empty. I don't know how I got out. I woke up in my own car in the Institute's parking lot at dawn. David is listed as missing. The Institute denies everything, says my data was corrupted. But I have the corrupted file. And if you play the audio from the last few seconds on a loop and slow it down, you can hear a chorus of whispering voices, one of which is my own, saying, "The dream is real now. We're all awake." This one I didn't investigate. It investigated me. I run a small, failing paranormal podcast. A listener sent me a dense package with no return address. Inside was a single USB drive and a note: "Play me at 3 a.m. Broadcast live." The signal finds its own. I was desperate for content. Stupid, I know. At 2:59 a.m., alone in my basement studio, I plugged in the drive. It contained one file: final.wave. I went live to my 12 concurrent listeners, gave a spiel about mysterious evidence, and hit play on the file. It started with a blast of harsh, discordant static that made my equipment squeal with feedback. Then, a clear, calm male voice began speaking. "Test. Test. This is a recording of Event Horizon Radio, broadcasting from the null point. Cycle unknown. If you are receiving this, you are a receptive conduit. The following tones will align your location within the spectrum." A series of piercing, atonal frequencies followed, each one making my teeth ache and the single light bulb in my room pulse rhythmically. I should have stopped. I was mesmerized. The voice returned. Alignment successful. Initiating broadcast of the last transmission from observer Dr. Eris Thorne. A new voice, ragged, terrified, gasping for breath, filled my headphones. It's not a place, it's a state of being. The walls are breathing. The geometry is wrong. I can see the threads, the strings that connect everything. And they're cutting into me. It knows I'm here. It's using my memories. It's showing me my childhood home, but the doors lead to places I've never. A sound like tearing fabric, monstrous and vast, drowned him out. Then silence. Then Dr. Thorne's voice again, but now flat, emotionless, and perfectly synchronized with the calm first voice. The integration is complete. The signal is broadcast. All receptive conduits will serve as new anchors. We are coming through the spaces in between. We are in the static between channels. We are the face in the corner of your eye. The broadcast is you. The broadcast is me. The broadcast is everything. My live stream feed exploded. Views rocketed from 12 to thousands, then tens of thousands. The chat was a frenzy of people typing. I can hear it. And it's in my house. But the worst part was the video. My webcam feed, which showed me sitting at my desk, began to glitch. In the glitches, for single frames, I wasn't alone. Figures stood behind me, their forms made of shifting static. And my own face, in those split seconds, wore that serene, empty smile from the sleep study, from the babysitter tape. The broadcast cut out. My equipment fried. The USB drive melted into a lump of black plastic. But it was too late. The signal was out. Since that night, odd things happen around me. Radios turn on by themselves to stations of pure static that sometimes form whispered words. People I know look at me with a flicker of cold recognition in their eyes before it fades. And my dreams are not my own. I see vast non-Euclidean cities of buzzing noise, and walking among them are the forms of people from the other investigations. The server farm faces, the smiling copy from the mausoleum, the thing wearing my skin from the sleep study. They are all there, integrated. The final piece of footage isn't mine. It was sent to me anonymously last week. It's a grainy long lens shot of my own house, taken at night. In every window, my silhouette is visible, standing motionless. But there are too many silhouettes. Dozens of them, all standing perfectly still, all facing outward. And if you enhance the image, you can see that every single one of them is smiling. The investigation never ends. It just widens. And now you've listened. You've heard the signal. Check your peripherals. Listen to the quiet. You might just be the next receptive conduit. The broadcast is everything. Do not adjust your device. The distortion you're experiencing is not a technical error. It is the signal aligning. Sleep well.